And thanks to the Marsh Stream for this wonderful public performance broadcast platform serving the Bay Area and the world. And good evening to all. Welcome to Solo Arts Heal. I'm Gail Schickley. And tonight we welcome Bay Area actor Ellen Dunphy in a Marsh Performer Spotlight presentation of her full show, Imaginary Endings. Ellen's story is unique to Solo Arts Heal, and yet in some ways the most important story of all, the story we all face, the one about our own mortality. Processing mortality is something we all need to do. For Ellen, it all happened so fast. In early 2020, she was acting in a medical training film helping oncologists work with terminal patients. By late 2020, at age 33, she was grappling with gastric cancer and the same doctor. She began writing monologues to process the experience. One of the pieces she filmed for her coming out about cancer is called Gnawing Thoughts, a terrific short you'll find on her website. We showed it when Ellen was our guest a few months ago, presenting her live performance excerpt of Imaginary Endings, developed with David Ford, who will join us after tonight's show. Ellen Dunphy is a Bay Area actor, originally from Wisconsin. Bay Area productions include the Baltimore Waltz with Dragon Productions Theater, An Ideal Husband and In the Next Room, or the Vibrator play with the Pear Theater, Unholy Trinity at the Exit Theater, A Midsummer Night's Dream with Silicon Valley Shakespeare, and the Laramie Project, Dog Sees God, and Twisted Hitchcock with the Left Coast Theater Company. She's also worked on camera and, as we'll see, as a standardized patient. Imaginary Endings is her first play. She's an actor portraying dying characters, then receives her own terminal diagnosis. Illness makes her grapple with her mortality, her art, and her relationship with her oncologist. Ellen was still developing this show when she joined us in the hope of giving respectful voice to others who are experiencing a terminal illness in a safe space to explore our own thoughts about mortality. After the show, please give us your comments and questions. We want to hear what you think. Now, please join me in welcoming Ellen Dunphy in her spotlight performance of Imaginary Endings. The show is 78 minutes, and I'll see you after for the talk back with director David Ford.
Where am I? Plastic rustling, a presence on my right, leaden head, murky amber-lit space, curtains, hospital bed. Oh, the surgery's over. Easy, like getting my wisdom teeth out. Going, gone, and done. Time for ice cream. But oh, okay. This is a little more than that. They've opened my abdomen up. In the consult, my surgeon told me, we make 2 incisions in your abdomen and blow your belly up like a big top circus tent. Very colorful language for him to use. When he said it, sorry, I'm an actor. I'm sensitive to imagery. Looking inside this way is how we determine whether you have stomach cancer. So, okay, the surgery's done. He'll come in soon. Let me know I'm all clear, that it's something else, not stomach cancer. Way at the end of my bed, why am I so long? My surgeon appears, and my husband is with him. Both are masked. Andy's eyes are wild, watching something invisible play out just before his pupils. The surgeon clears his throat. It's as we feared. Stomach cancer? Yes. I'm still foggy from the anesthetic. Floaty, unreal. What he says is not true. But if it is, the kind of cancer we're talking about, it's probably hopeless. A Pit forms in my stomach, eyes go unfixed. In my mind, I see an image of a taut, glistening power line arcing through a dazzling blue sky. A memory from 6 months prior. Andy and I are finishing up an epic road trip through the Southwest in an RV. We've made it to the Salton Sea, Bombay Beach. Tooling around the deserted, sun-baked town has given us a severe case of the willies, but we pull off the road for one last photo on the way out of town. You're gonna have so many pictures to go through. Pulling away from the spot, a thrill goes through me. Stop, I yell, grabbing Andy's arm to keep him from driving. A power line is biting into the rental RV's overhang. We're well and truly hooked. Everything vivid, grotesque, lurching out, singing with danger. If we'd kept going, we almost certainly would have pulled down the power poles, been electrocuted. And I don't know what made me notice the snag. Feeling deeply foolish, laughs shaking out uncontrolled. We extract ourselves from the RV, stand far from it in the Salton Sea muck. Dial 911. Wait for someone to come rescue us in this wasteland. It feels like the power line has snagged and is tugging my guts. An oppressive sense of doom, of profound helplessness sets in. When will help come? Will they be able to free us? Back in the hospital, I stare at my surgeon. So that's what this is, this hot, scraping stomach pain. That's what it's been all along during that RV trip. Not an ulcer, not an infection, cancer. An immense black funnel opens up inside my skull, and every thought escapes down it. Through the hole in the bottom of the funnel, I see only my surgeon's masked face, hear only his voice as he begins to tell me how my new life will start. Now, we have options for how to proceed, but I'd suggest this. I admit you to the hospital tonight. That way insurance can't delay us and we get you your first round of chemo as soon as possible. That sounds very urgent. If you'd rather wait, no, let's do it. I want to fight. I'll start working on orders to get you a bed. How much time do I have? It is very serious. I'm a surgeon. I want you to have this conversation with your oncologist. I'll have him come visit you, Dr. Trevor Thompson. I know that name. A nagging memory surfaces of having once thought, Dr. Trevor Thompson? I went to elementary school with a Trevor. How is there a doctor named Trevor? I think I know him. Okay, is that all right? It's just, we did this thing, this doctor training video together, where he's, you know, himself, and I play someone who's dying, and he has to tell me that I'm dying. So, do you want a different oncologist then? No, I think it's all right. I think it's good, actually, that I already know him. Okay, why did I do that? Because I don't want to be a pest, be the person who requested a different doctor. But I want to be a good patient. I don't want to hurt Trevor's feelings, but I mean, what the hell? Am I cursed? Is this my karmic reward for playing the terminally ill, to get cancer and then have my oncologist be the same doctor I pretended to have terminal cancer with? And it's not like he was particularly comforting the first time we played this scenario. Shooting the video, we're practically sitting on top of each other. Our knees keep bumping together. My whole field of vision is his face, his torso. It feels weird sitting this close to a stranger, this doctor. And because we're sitting this close, I can feel how nervous he is. And that's making me nervous. Also, we both turned up wearing the exact same shade of light blue. Someone, unthinkingly, advised Trevor that blue is universally flattering on camera, and then forgot having done that, so we're twinsies. Except I'm wearing some ghastly sick person makeup. Pale skin, purple eye circles. But what I'm really worried about is my performance. There's a camera over there. So now I'm worried I won't be able to cry. And this conversation demands that I cry a few times at specific questions. As an actor, nothing stresses me out more than the stage direction she weeps. It's right there. I must, so I cannot. Not truthfully. Everything in me is bent toward generating sadness, creating tears, forcing, closing off possibilities. The pressure can be so intense, I turn into a big knot inside. Nothing makes me feel like more of a phony than trying to get water to come out of my eyes. It's so stressful. You know, not all actors feel this way. Some just recreate the physiological responses. Others use their own traumatic experiences, which is not how I work. Because I'm not a self-hating hack. Or maybe because I don't have much trauma to draw on. I'm relieved there's no actual script, just an outline for the conversation. For me, being able to feel like I'm playing the character comes down to how much I'm able to think as her, how little I'm worried about getting the words exactly right. Trevor and I are going to improvise our lines, so I hope, the tears will take care of themselves. I just need to listen and think. And sure, push the emotion a bit if I have to. I really want this to feel real. This could affect real people's lives. I feel a great responsibility to get it right. As right as I can, knowing nothing about cancer, or being terminally ill, or being a parent. I take a few breaths. Look up at Trevor again. His forehead is lightly perspiring under dark, shiny curls. He gives me a tight-lipped smile. I smile back, wondering how he can be so nervous to play himself. Okay, let's take it from prognosis sharing. Miss Desmichel, back when? I'm sorry, Trevor, can we hold? Trevor, you've worked with this patient a lot, yeah? Let's make it less formal. Use her first name. Let's try it again. Tara. Back when we started working together, I made you a promise. If I know something, you know it. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but I'm afraid the time you have left is likely quite limited. I'm concerned you may have as little as months or even weeks. Weeks? We went through all of that and I only have weeks. I have to be here for my children. Did you buy that? Is that how somebody responds to that news? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I know my job here is to be emotional. The director made that much clear. So, what are we doing here? We are making a training video to show doctors how to have this intense end-of-life conversation. Ellen, I need you to keep the emotions high. Break down at the places we talked about. That feeling of emotional obligation is coming up again. Oh shit, Trevor's talking. I can't imagine how hard this must be for you. But I think it's really important we have this conversation. What are your goals in the time you have left? I want to be able to spend time with my family. What is this voice? If I can, I'd like to be able to travel, see my parents in Boston. Fuck, should I have done this in an accent? But I just really want to be here for my children and my husband. They're my world. Did that sound true? These people are made up. I hope it was good. What I'm hearing is time with the family is most important. Is that right? What do you worry about? Oof. He's playing himself. Does he really need that cheat sheet? I see him giving himself instructions to make an empathy face, pull the eyebrows together, make eye contact. But there's a remove, a slight smile on the lips that betrays our distance from each other. The director had notes for Trevor too. Trevor, our professional, you model for us the ideal version of this conversation. You're comforting. You give her the space to express everything she needs to express, but you keep the conversation moving forward gently. They're going to want to take that again, right? No? I guess we're still rolling. I worry about my husband. We're already stretched pretty thin taking care of our kids. I worry about what's going to happen to him when I'm gone. In the silence, after I've said something grim, I, as Tara, want something from him. A touch, a reassurance. I don't know, it's my first time playing this conversation, but it's certainly not his. What is happening to me does not touch him. Though Trevor and I are physically close, there's an invisible barrier between us. He'll sit here with me, furrow his brow, listen to what I have to say, make some notes, leave the room, healthy, unscathed, back to his life. I'm gonna have to play this scene for the two of us. I'll use this isolation, this despair. I move away from the suggested responses. There's no real script. Improvising my own language personalizes it, makes Tara's pain mine own. No exact line to break down on and weep. I feel my way there, feeling the lump rise in my throat, the water begin to sting my eyes. I go further down this road, thinking actual thoughts as Tara, because I'm searching for my own language instead of remembering and unthinkingly spitting out some writers. And I am here to tell you, I cried every take, real water. In between takes, I asked the director, any notes for me? Oh no, you're good. Maybe tighten up your response on the goal sharing section. Hey, Trevor. So maybe I can let my inner critic shut the hell up. I'm relishing acting something so extreme. It's like, sometimes being an actor is disgusting. To get excited about playing someone who's dying. What a meaty role. What a challenge. Let's take it from the last question. How much have you shared with your family? My husband and I signed the proxy form. I haven't shared much with the kids, though. They're too young to understand. They may be young, but it could be important for you to explain what's going on yourself. We have resources here, social workers who can help strategize how to have these conversations. Is that something you'd be interested in? Yes, I think I'd like that. We'll set that up. I know this was difficult, but thank you for having this conversation with me. I now have a better understanding of what's important to you. Tara, I want you to know, no matter what happens, we will always be your team. Thank you. Wow. Every time I hear that, we will always be your team, I feel a warm rush of gratitude. I feel held by that. That feels real. So if nothing else we do works, I know that that part of the video will be strong, but I hope the rest will be good too. When we wrap, my face is pinched, my voice is sore, my body is clenched. I can't wipe my sick person makeup off fast enough. I'm done with the job, with Tara, with Trevor. Or so I think. As I sit in my hospital room waiting to meet with Trevor, I think about that video. If I could play Tara today, I'd knock everybody's fucking socks off. Back then, I didn't get it. Couldn't imagine. And I'd have no problem now. I've always had to rely on my imagination for my acting. Never been addicted, abused, or injured. Even my parents are still together. I've been lucky. I've lived a normal, uneventful life. As I sit staring out my hospital room window at the clouds creeping over the mountains, I think to myself, something interesting is finally happening to me. I sit by the window a long time, drinking in the mountains, wanting to stop time, fly out the window, feel the mist on my skin. This early is quiet on the ward. But with the pandemic, there's always a little pulse of danger under every moment. I've always got my mask at hand. It feels unfair and perverse that I can't see anyone's face. All these people telling me what to do, what my life is going to be like from now on. Plus, add in the usual indignities of the hospital. It's boring, exhausting, and you have no control over who comes in your room, how much blood they take, bathing. Things happen when they happen. A nurse comes in. Excitement. Trevor is coming. Finally. I settle back against the bed. He's going to answer all my questions. Maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe they can do something. Maybe they can't do anything. Maybe it's hopeless. How's he going to be? Better than with Tara? Hello, Miss Dunphy? Hey, you remember me, right? From the training video? Oh, yes, of course. He settles into a chair on my right, at the foot of my hospital bed, a distinct distance. From here, I can take him in. He's wearing a crisp white shirt that's sagged at the elbows over the day. His hair looks damp, freshly showered, which is weird because it's the afternoon. But truly what I first clock is his jaunty purple bow tie. I'm kind of amused, and I'm kind of put off. How are you doing, Miss Dunphy? Not great. Really hard to believe. I can only imagine. I'm sorry we have to meet again under these circumstances. I want you to know we have a big team here to support you, whatever your needs. Thanks. So how much do you know? Well, I know that the surgery found cancer, so that's bad. But I don't know at all how much time I'm going to have. Generally, I make a promise to all my patients. If I know something, you know it. Is that what you would like? So yes, the surgery did find stomach cancer, and that it has spread to the lining of your abdomen. Your stomach is unresectable, which means that removing it with surgery is not an option. Not ever? Likely not. Because this is true, and because this is an aggressive cancer, the range of time I usually see for this type of cancer is between 2 months and 2 years. A thrill goes through my body, receding from room, locked deep in mind, curiously muffled. Only eyes feel the air, wet, stinging, incipient tears searching the scratchy hospital blanket. It's not true. I hear it, but it's not true. I have all the time I thought I would have. In fact, I have one patient, quite older than you. She's still going strong at 2 years on one drug. That could be the case for you. 2 years? You want me to get excited about 2 years? I'm 33. I feel like my whole life has been stolen from me, and 2 years is the best story you can offer me? That's unacceptable. I don't accept that. I wouldn't be happy about it either. But we're going to do everything we can to fight this, to make you comfortable, to make the time you have good time. He goes to the whiteboard and, uncapping a marker, begins to draw. This is the bell curve. Are you familiar with this? It's a way of thinking about averages. A small percentage of people will fall over here at 2 months. Most people will fall in the middle, around 8 months to a year. And some people will live 2 years or more. That could be the case for you. It's possible. You're quite young for this cancer. 2 years. We'll get you started on your chemo as soon as possible. Hopefully, you will have a really good response. I want you to know, no matter what happens, we will always be your team. An icy ripple goes through my heart. I blink at him, toad-like. Those words that brought me such comfort in the video, take after take, now leave me cold with rage. Enter my ears and lodge there, buzzing in my jaw hinge, my whole scalp prickling. That line worked really well on me in the video. I don't know if I thought before I spoke or if it just shot out of me. A flat challenge. What I really mean is, be a person with me. Stop treating me like all your other patients. I've played this scene with you. I complimented you on that very phrase. Those words' potential to move me, to bond us together, was wasted on Tara. Using your script on me is a slap in the face, a denial of our history, a denial of my reality. He's just playing his role. It's not real for him. It doesn't touch him. Except he looks hurt. You know my tricks. I feel seen through. I use these words in my work, but it doesn't make them less true. Whatever you need, we're here for you. Okay, sorry, yes. This is just so weird to be having this conversation with you for real, and then you pull out that line. I'm sorry. I really do mean it. We're going to work through this together, okay? From now on, he doesn't go back to his script. But I'm furious with myself for going along with this, for agreeing to him as my oncologist. He stays a long time, maybe an hour and a half, answering every question I can think of, probably multiple times over. I'm so scattered. When he leaves, I'm exhausted. God. When I played Tara, she was just sad, wet, and limp. Such rage didn't occur to me. For me, there are no tears, just fury and refusal. I would make a very different training video today. Why did he think he could use the same words with me? Is he protecting himself, keeping up a barrier? Is that how he copes? I wonder what drew him to gastric oncology in the first place. Lost causes, cancers found too late to do anything but blast your patients with chemicals for as long as they can bear it. It must be horrendous work. And just to watch so many of your patients fade, weaken, die? It must be really fucking hard. But I deserve better than play acting in scripts. That whole afternoon, my eyes keep returning to the bell curve Trevor drew. I stare at it so long, and after image is burned into my eyes. I silently beseech the universe that I am at the far right of the bell curve, and I get 2 more years. Andy and I sit in our car between appointments. We've been seeing a lot of the infusion center parking lot these last 6 months. Because of COVID, we meet with Trevor over video visit. It takes a long time for Trevor to join. Andy works on his laptop. I watch the shifting dappled shadow of the parking lot tree shade the windshield, feel the sun, the heated seat on my back, soothing my sore, swollen belly. It helps a little. Still uncomfortable to sit upright. I imagine clicking scales being melted by the sun, the heat. The drugs aren't working anymore. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. Warmth, sun, Andy. I'm safe. I don't know anything yet. Just wait. Hello? Trevor has appeared on my phone. I angle it so he can see our faces. Hello, Miss Dunphy. How are you doing? Fine, aside from the swelling. Just bracing myself for the next infusion. Did you get the results from my CT scan? We did. There's no easy way to say this, but it appears to show progression. My stomach drops down. My heart thuds heavily. So it's failed. That miracle patient, whoever the hell she is, has me beat. I only lasted 6 months on the best drugs they have for this cancer. This scan, with your numbers going up and your symptoms, all these things tell me the current chemotherapy is no longer working. It's time to switch to a new line of drugs. How do you feel about that? It's really scary. How much time do you think I have? It's difficult to say, everyone's different, but we have had good success with this line of chemo. It's a good second line. I think we should give it a try. What do you say? If you think it's the best option, I think so. My bet is switching will make you feel better. And if it doesn't, there are still other things we can try. For now, infusion is off until insurance approves the switch, okay? He's gone. On to the next lost cause. I turn to Andy, meet his eyes. I'm leaving you, I think. I'm worried, I say. It's not good news, but he seems to think the second line is effective. It just feels like nothing I do matters. It's like my body isn't even mine anymore. Tired. He hugs me, my chin crushed into his collarbone. Close my eyes. Blackness, solitude. He's touching me, but only the outside. Inside, I'm drifting further away, untouchable, unreclaimable. Someday soon, I'll be so remote no voices can reach me. See a single cypress waving on an island where it's always night. The jaw wobbles, bite back tears. Enough. Pat him on the back. Let's go. I want to rest before rehearsal. I stare out the car window, watching my sun-drenched city slipping by. People walking dogs, car washes, lampposts, everything beautiful and out of my grasp. I pass into the cool dark of our apartment, head straight to the bedroom. I pull the duvet cover, cool and smooth with a pleasing weight over my head, sink into the mattress. I float between waking and sleep. Ugh. I have a few minutes before rehearsal starts. I hope I still remember everything. It's a remount, a single virtual performance of the Baltimore Waltz. This play is unfinished business for me, shut down by the pandemic, haunting me after my diagnosis, bits and pieces running through my mind. I've been acting in class and little readings here and there, and while it's fun and great to play characters whose circumstances aren't my own, I feel like I'm ignoring some essential new part of myself. Some part of myself where I actually have something to say and to offer. And that's to do with being sick. I want to engage with it and use it for some good. And this play is perfect for that. And I mean, how often do you get to revisit a character that you felt like, ugh, I didn't totally grasp all of that? I mean, there were things that I did get, obviously. But then there were other things. The parts about dying. It never felt authentic enough to me. And I would just try to skate over them and hope the audience wouldn't notice. Maybe I didn't try hard enough to imagine myself in that circumstance. Maybe I preferred to imagine everything else. And I can't make that right with Tara and the training video, but I can do it with Anna and the Baltimore Waltz. I've been talking about this play a lot. Do you guys know it? I'll just give you a brief synopsis. It's written by Paula Vogel, a love letter to her brother Carl, who died of AIDS. The play is a sort of romance between a brother and a sister, a dream vacation to Europe. Only Carl isn't the one who's sick. It's his sister Anna, and that's who I play. And it's funny. I'm not making it sound like it's funny, but it is. Surprising how funny a play about somebody dying can be. And heartwarming and sexy and life-affirming and basically everything you want a play to be. So this is what I get to work on. Ooh, it's time. Hey guys. Hi. Hello. It's good to see you. We get started. So much of it comes back to me. Most of the words still remembered. Such joy in dropping back in, feeling the play underneath me like a horse, invisible, sturdy, and fleet-footed. I'm relishing working with these people again. They're smart and quick. Well, Carl's connection is a little slow, but we'll work on it. I wish we could just be together. In my tiny box on Zoom, in the slightly larger box of my bedroom, it feels different. No bare feet slapping the cool stage. No people so close sharing breath and air. No electric thrill of danger. Our director calls out the scenes he wants to work. Let's have the bellboy scene. My favorite, from the very first table read. Anna sleeps with a lot of people during the course of the play, but this is the encounter that means the most, that she's been chasing. We find Anna on a hotel bed, talking with a very nervous virgin bellboy. What begins as just more anonymous sex becomes incredibly, unexpectedly intimate. The human body is a wonderful thing, like yours, like mine. The beauty of the body heals all the sickness, all the bad things that happen to it. And I really want you to feel this, because if you feel it, you remember it. Then maybe you'll remember me. Just really connect to it. I mean, I still couldn't tell you what Paula means by the beauty of the body healing sickness. I wish. But the rest of it, I understand. Feels deeper, truer now. Anna, like me, has no children, no lasting achievements. And that feels very scary, seeing a world with ourselves erased. Our only immortality is people's memories of us, a very short-lived immortality. So acting this feels simple. I'm not fancy. I don't try to pile on an emotion over the words. I just really say the words and not try to mean something else at the same time. I don't know. Does that make sense? Probably not. It's like a switch in myself that I touch and let go of trying to control your interpretation of what I'm saying, your interpretation of me, and just let it be. It feels good. Wish I could let go like this all the time. Helen, why don't you do the stages of grief scene next? Sure. My roller coaster. This is the scene where Paula Vogel marches us through Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's stages of grief for comedic effect and narrative convenience. She has an actor call out the stages. The first stage, denial and isolation. In the morning, when I open my eyes, I feel absolutely well, without a body. And then the thought comes crashing in my mind. This is the last spring I may see. This is the last summer. It can't be. That's very true. The little voice that pops up when I'm looking at a tree, saying goodbye to a friend. The reminder and the refusal that I could end. Anger. What does she know about what it feels like to die? Elizabeth Kubler-Ross can sit on my face. Bargaining. Do you think if I let Elizabeth Kubler-Ross sit on my face, I'll get well? That's really all the time Paula gives to the bargaining stage. Depression. Leave me alone. Acceptance. When I'm gone, I want you to find someone. No, I want to. It's important to me to know that you'll be happy and taken care of after. When I'm gone. I had almost the same conversation with Andy. Sitting exhausted at the Grand Canyon. I was sincere, but I'd already rehearsed the scene. Paula gave me the words, so is it pure? Is it authentic? Really nice work, guys. Way to jump back in. You're released. Bye. I'll make some notes about what went well, what didn't, what to work on next time. The anger stage isn't working. Maybe I'm playing for laughs too much. Try genuine anger next time. Should be easy. I have plenty. Shouldn't I be past the anger stage by now? I've done denial, anger, bargaining, I think, and depression, but I've only flirted with acceptance or played it for people with a saintly, resigned tone. I want you to find someone, or, oh, I'm just trying to be in the moment. Yeah, except for when I'm playing Animal Crossing for hours or watching reality TV. Because on some level, deep down, I still think I'm going to make it. Have endless hours to waste or savor or work on myself. But that's not what medicine tells me. Certainly not Trevor. So I'm still in denial. Anna just goes from face down on the mattress depression to perfect, loving acceptance. How? How, Paula? You make it look like I should just graduate to acceptance with the passage of time, which, like, it's been 6 months, so. No? Maybe I approach it like some acting prep work, an imagination exercise. Maybe imagining my death could make me accept it, believe it, prepare for it in some way. The room is dark. I see myself from above, emaciated, rattling breaths in my bed, my deathbed. Except no, they probably don't let you sleep in your regular bed right up to the end. It's probably a hospital bed, probably all crinkly plastic sheets. Ew. But anyway, I don't want to die in our bed. I don't want to do that to Andy. He'd probably have to throw it away after. I'll probably leak bodily fluids all over it. Okay. So yeah, probably it's a hospital bed. Kind of propped up on pillows. It's dark and I'm alone. Just an animal, panting, eyes rolling whites, and I'm in pain, and it's very bad. I've been told that the pain is unimaginable. So I don't try to imagine it, and I just tell myself I'm in pain, I'm in pain. It's dark, I'm alone, and it's very bad. So bad. The edges of the image disintegrate, black. I can't hold it. I can't follow through to the end. Because why? Because I'm a coward? Because I have a shitty imagination? I try again and again. Every time I try to put myself inside my body where the pain and the death are really happening, my mind slides back out, recoiling, doesn't want to go there. I can't stay inside my body at this point, some unknown days from now. I can't believe it. I don't want to believe in it. The next day in therapy, I tell Dr. L, I feel like I'm still in denial. Like, I don't really accept that I'm dying. Why do you want to accept that you're dying? Because that's where I'm supposed to get to, right? Go through the stages and you get to acceptance. Except I keep going back to anger or denial. I don't feel like I'm making any progress. Who says you need to, in your words, make progress? Paula Vogel. She wrote that play I'm rehearsing. She talks about the stages of grief. While I'm not familiar with the depiction, I can tell you that the stages are fluid. You're not going to feel only one thing at once. One day you could be angry, the next you might be sad. It's not mutually exclusive. So Paula Vovo lied to us. It's not just a neat progression. Not necessarily. But eventually you get to acceptance, right? Some people do. What do you think accepting your death will provide you? Peace. I just think it'll feel better. It feels bad to feel sad, to be angry. Don't you think under the circumstances you have every right to feel sad, to be angry? I guess. And why are you also making yourself feel bad? Wherever you are is okay. But I don't want to just keep cycling through. It's like anger, denial, anger, depression. I'm all over the place. I feel like I'm defective or something. I promise you, you're not defective. And you're not the only one to express these things to me. My prescription for you this week is to show yourself some compassion. Okay? Okay. I want to be a good patient. Show her I'm a quick learner, always have been. She doesn't need to worry about me. I am handling this. I am smashing therapy. I'm sure it occurs to you that putting on an act for my therapist is not helpful in any way. Well, it makes me feel better to just give her that agreement, to just go along, because I'm tired. Because I should feel bad. Fuck me, I'm trash. If people could see the things inside of me, inside my heart, they'd never bother with me again. I am so angry. Angry at the carefree, the reckless, my gastroenterologist, my parents, my friends, me, Andy, anyone who calls me on the phone, people calling themselves survivors, wearing survivor t-shirts. I'm so fucking jealous of them. Cancer 0, me 1. To live is to fight. Oh, was your battle hard? Try this. Fucking try this. Knowing all the strength you show, everything you endure, it's not enough. You're still going to die. Nothing you do matters. You have no control. You still die. Try fighting knowing that. I know it. I'm glad people survive. Good for them. It's just, it feels like there's this implication that there's something deficient in my character, that I'm lacking in grit because I won't survive this, that I gave up. And that is not the case. What I want from life is still so vast. The way I live now is so small, concealed, restricted. Appointment, infusion, recover, sleep, hide at home, appointment, 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 see no one, infusion, recover. To live this way to the end? I don't think that's fair. Something in me is urging me to open it all up. I know I don't owe anybody an explanation. I don't have to tell anyone at all. But I won't conceal myself until I die. Won't be revealed as sick only after the fact. The probably soon fact. I read a post. I'm clear and thorough. I don't want to answer and re-answer the same questions. I say, please, no pep talks. People tell you to fight, to stay positive. Fuck that. I don't need that. I also give my friends 2 things they can do. The first is a request, something they can do for themselves. Please see a doctor for any ailment. Don't stop until you have a satisfying answer. Goes for you too, by the way. The second is something they can do for me. People always want to do something for you when you're dying. Gifts, food, phone calls. Helps people feel better. I know because I've done it. Been the one wringing my hands over how to express my care when nothing is going to make it better. Nothing is going to bring that person back. Not a candle, not a blanket, not a card. But I can't get it out of my head, that helplessness, that unease, until I've done something. So I don't mind letting people know what they can do to get that release. I ask my friends to share happy memories, and they do. I have a cry reading them, a good one, and feel a connection to the outside world that I haven't felt in months. The comments trickle in over the week before I start the second line of infusion. It's tiring responding to so many people reaching out, but I'm glad I announced it. And I'm still alive to read what people will remember of me. The day before infusion, I jump on a video call with my parents in Wisconsin. They're always on the call before me, sitting side by side at their kitchen table, very far from the camera. And they're always a little startled when I join. Oh, hi, sweetie, how are you? Well, I'm starting my second line of drugs tomorrow, which, who knows how effective that's going to be, how much time that's going to give me. I'm not super excited to be starting my second line of drugs because it's, by definition, not as good as the first line. So yeah, I'm pretty messed up right now. I just keep getting worse and running out of time, and there's all these things that I want to do, and I'm not going to be able to get to do them, and it's unfair, and that's all I can keep thinking about. And oh, also, the Baltimore waltz was canceled because we couldn't get the rights. So the one thing I thought I was going to be able to do is just, fuck you. Kidding, you can't. So how am I doing? Not great. I don't say any of that. I talk about this stuff with my therapist, maybe with Andy, not my parents. They have enough to deal with. I don't want to make them upset. They're already upset. And so COVID, so we're in 2 different states and there's nothing they can do. We're not really a talking family. So the thing I want the most, the thing they can give me, is a hug. And I just can't get that over a video call, so I'm not going there. My dad. Oh, hi, sweetie. How are you? My mom. Oh, just getting ready for infusion tomorrow. Just trying not to get ahead of myself. Take it day by day. Do you know what the new drugs will be like? Not really. As they tell me all the time, everyone's different. But they seem pretty hopeful that the new drugs will make me feel better. Good, good. How was your week? Just trying to be present. We drove out to the coast yesterday, sat in the car, ate peanut butter sandwiches, looking at the ocean. And I've been scooting around the apartment like a maniac, trying to get everything ready before infusion, since I don't know what I'm going to feel like after. What are you guys up to? Well, we went for a hike at the council grounds today. Really beautiful. Everything's covered in ice. I fell on my butt. I think I bruised my tailbone. We saw a rabbit. Geez, be careful, please. Oh, we are. Not enough, apparently. We're careful. Don't worry about us. I'm really glad you guys are getting out there, staying active. So important not to get all cooped up and crazy. I've been trying to do the same thing myself, get outside, look around. Yeah. I find nature to be very healing. Yeah, me too. Well, it was good talking to you guys. Let us know how it goes. I will. We love you, sweetie. Love you guys. That night, I can't sleep. Andy is out. I nudge his heavy body away. I toss, I turn. Things to do. My belly pushes me into the mattress, heavily pregnant with fluid, pulsing with lumps as though pummeled with fists, bruising under the surface. Shallow breaths, doom. This thing inside me is insatiable. Learning about the drugs the more times it sees it, hardening my stomach, scaling over. Cancer, the crab carapace, scuttling hard shell out all over my soft, vulnerable insides, building a colony, crab on crab, hard shell over hard shell, an armor that nothing can burn away. Early the next morning, dread is thrumming in my chest as we pull up to the clinic. The same paved arc of loading zone. I'm not ready to subject myself to the unknown. I roll some big sad eyes at Andy. Hug him. It turns into a grip. I don't want to. I know. He kisses me on the forehead. I let go of him, trudge toward the mechanical doors. They part with a whoosh. Good morning, I say brightly to the door staff, already beginning to turn it on. I get a weird sense of excitement coming in for infusion. Sadly, it's the only place I really go these days. I make an effort to dress up, swagger around, show off my vigor. Well, sitting on the scratchy waiting room chair, panting from my short walk from the elevator, I'm certainly more frail, less vivacious today. Miss Dunphy, over here. Again, another performance. I can't help myself. Hello, how are you? I'm good. How are you? So good. I didn't recognize you without your purple hair. Months ago, to make myself a fun patient, I would pop on a purple cosplay wig. Maybe seafoam, depended on my mood. Got me a little notoriety at the clinic. Oh, well, my hair's coming back in, so I thought I'd go au natural. Oh yeah, it looks good, very good. We walked down the corridor toward my infusion room. I favor the quiet of the private suites to the chatter of the curtain suites. Plus, I am worried about coronavirus floating around. I settle on the bed. She takes my vitals. When I see her lift the scanner, I thrust my wristband toward her. I'm an old pro. I know the infusion rhythms. This is my 14th. Can I get you anything? Something to drink? A warm blanket? Oh, no, that's okay. You sure? Well, a blanket. Okay, I'll get you that. You sit tight. Your nurse today will be Margaret. All right, thanks. So cheerful. Every time I come to an appointment. Why? Am I just so grateful for their care and attention? Yes. Most nurses make me feel like a precious little baby to be cooed to, swaddled, and soothed. But I also want to make it easy for me, and for them to be amiable, memorable, special. Hello, Miss Dunphy. How are you feeling today? Well, you saw we're starting new drugs today, and I don't really know what to expect about that. Well, I can certainly go over what to look out for. Okay? Can I scan your, oh, thank you, wristband. You knew what I was going to say. She scans me, briefs me on the side effects. I take notes. A serious pupil. I'm going to start infusing now, okay? Sounds good. Sounds good. More like sounds right. I just want to start. I just need to start feeling better. She programs the machine. Noisy beeps. I stare up at the bag of chemicals suspended above me on the IV pole. The new drug is clear, generic, offering no hint of how I'm about to feel. She releases the clamp on my line, and the drugs start to flow, innocuous, just like water down the tube. Heart thumping insistently, the slurping of the machine. Nearer, nearer, the pocket of air disappearing and then gone. Feel a cool surge of the drugs squirt into my blood, a metallic tang in my nose. All I can do is sit and wait and see how my body handles these new chemicals. Maybe they'll give me terrible itching veins, nausea that turns me inside out. Maybe it'll do nothing, my belly swelling further, filling with carbuncles, eaten up from the inside. Or maybe they'll work. Buy me some time. Buy me some time. 2 hours pass with no ill effects. I extract myself weakly from the chair, bloated, a salty sea sloshing side to side, filling my whole abdomen, sickening my appetite. But I'm fine. This is the desired effect. The next morning, I surface out of a squishy, disrupted sleep. I struggle over my wedge pillow, twisting breathlessly for my precious phone. I get it and flop back on the pillow, queasily. Unlock the phone. An email from Angie. Weird. She saw my Facebook announcement. She wants to do a virtual benefit reading, raise money for cancer research. And I can choose any Shakespeare play and cast myself. Everything will work around my treatment schedule. My chest feels warm. A catch in the back of my throat. Genuine excitement for the first time in a long time. And then anxiety. Which play? Who should I be? Will I be good enough? Will anybody come? Can I do this physically? One thing at a time. I want to, and I will make it happen. Which play? Is there a Shakespeare play that deals with illness? Maybe All's Well That Ends Well? No. Maybe a big, important tragedy. Not such great roles for women. If I'm honest with myself, I don't want to do Hamlet or Lear. Maybe I'm not so cultured, but my favorite Shakespeare is Twelfth Night, and I've always wanted to play Viola. Daring, gender-bending, passionate Viola. I tell Angie my idea, half dreading she'll make a counter-suggestion, but she's into it. I plunge into preparation. It's such a joy to put my mind back on the work again, to not be a full-time sick person. I feel this great pressure to be brilliant for the nonprofit, for the audience, for myself. This could very likely be the last live performance I give. I share the news with my team, with Trevor. Well, I will have to try to make it. I have no great hopes he's going to have or make time for this. He's a busy guy with a stressful job. If I were him, I would just veg out in the sun all weekend, not try to watch Shakespeare. The day of the performance, Andy lies on our bed for the first few scenes. I need his help with my costume change. My fingers are fried and clumsy from nerve damage, and I can't do the buttons quickly enough. It's strange to have him essentially backstage while I'm on stage. I watch as the list of names on the stream grows. Family, friends, Trevor Thompson. Okay, you made it. I try to refocus my attention away from the invisible audience, from Andy, from the big light blinding me, from the nerves jangling in my core. I adjust my scratchy wig, double check my makeup, peer into the little boxes on Zoom. If music be the food of love, play on, give me excess of it, that surfeiting, the appetite may sicken and so die. Deep belly breaths, and I'm on. What country, friends, is this? And what should I do in Illyria? My brother, he is in Elysium. Perchance he is not drowned. What think you, sailors? As soon as the scene ends, Andy and I are in a mad scramble to disguise me as Cesario. We bump into each other as he does the buttons, and I whip off my wig and throw on my cap. Andy helps me get each arm into my stiff jacket. On your attendance, my lord, here. I am off to the races. This is what I do. Sometimes the scene gets weighted by my circumstance. Gazing longingly into Orsino's eyes, suddenly my real mortality blindsides me. She never told her love, but let concealment, like a worm in the bud, feed on her damask cheek. She pined in thought. With the green and yellow melancholy, she sat like patience on a monument, smiling at grief. Still works, right? Much of the play, though, I lift out of myself, out of my circumstances. For 2 hours, disguised as a boy, I fall in love, navigate mix-ups, feel a rush of excitement as I explore my newfound freedom. I most enjoy the scenes with my friend who's playing Olivia. I lock eyes with her, and even though it's on Zoom and we're playing adversaries, I know we've got each other. There's such pleasure in our banter, our struggle for the upper hand. I crow out, Olivia, professing how I'd pursue her, and feel victorious when I see an expression of wonder ripple across her face. I watch the pages dwindling. I feel the play slipping by. I try to savor it, stay in this world as long as I can. I'm spit out at the end of the play, wrung out, joyous, to no thunderous applause. But there is a steady stream of messages praising us. I scroll through. I don't see Trevor's name anymore. Must have left. I'll get to tell him how much we've raised, a larger amount than I had imagined. These are my friends, my family, fellow theater artists. I feel moved by these gestures, these contributions for a better future, for those who come after me. As much as I want to, I can't stay in the celebratory space forever. The number of people on the stream dwindles. One by one, we each close the window. The connection is severed. Just alone in my bedroom again, staring at the blue light of my computer screen, where just moments before were fantastic characters, collaborators, hordes of friends and family. Back to just being a patient again, aimless, adrift, anonymous once again. A few days later, I'm in an exam room.
The next cycle is about to begin, but I've been having nosebleeds and I want Trevor to look up there, see if anything is really wrong or if it's just a fun new side effect. So here I am in person. I haven't seen Trevor in person since the hospital. And that's crazy because in some ways, he's the most important person in my life right now. I have to ask Trevor about this. What's he going to say about that? This man knows so much about me, my disease, my anxieties. And we've only been together in the flesh twice before. And the first time, I was pretending to be somebody else half the time. Knock, knock. Come in. Trevor bounds into the room. He's wearing a signature bow tie, navy blue today, and a tweed jacket with elbow patches, very dolled up in an academic way. And he has entered the room, bouquet first, like an excited suitor. There's our star. He thrusts the flowers out to me. It's massive, like 5 pounds and lavish. Roses and daisies and leaves and little berry things. The kind of bouquet that Andy would buy for me. I was expecting a flashlight up my nose, not this. I'm shocked, speechless. I feel my face turn all sorts of colors, my ears catch fire. Fantastic work. Thanks for watching. You really didn't have to. Oh, yes, I did. It was great. Even the kids liked it. I had to explain it sometimes. The language is a little tough for them. Tough for me. I don't think so. You really have a presence. Like, and on Zoom too. I did a little acting back in college, but nothing like that. I didn't know that. Did you see how much we raised? I sure did. We get down to business, medical stuff. I sit with the flowers pricking my arms, weighing them down. As we talk, part of my attention is on them. Like, flowers take planning, right? Which means he had to think about me outside of our clinic time. I finally feel that same care I felt back in the training video when he told me we will always be your team. I feel a welling up, my whole face, my whole body glowing with pride, triumph. I think this is what I wanted, to be an individual, to get beyond his professional remove, to matter. Well, Ellen, I think we've covered a lot of ground. Do you have any other questions for me? He looks tired. I've been abusing his time. No, thank you. I think you've answered all my questions. Great. Then I will see you next time. And again, congratulations. I walk down the corridor, cradling the monster bouquet. Wait till Andy sees this. Look at the type of doctor I have. I mean, this is just above and beyond. Trevor was watching me at home on the weekend. But what claim do I have to Trevor's off hours? It's kind of like I've invaded his life. If he allowed that with every patient, it would be unbearable. This work must be so heavy. I feel a little guilty. I've finally touched him. And it's not kind, but I think it's what I really wanted. I'm so scared of being forgotten, having meant nothing. I didn't see the harm I could cause by being. But I have to. I wish I had some big life truth to share with you. I feel like I want to give you some really profound nugget of wisdom you can carry away. I think that's what is expected of the dying. I've hashed over numerous options, wise cliche things I could leave you with. but it's just mouthing and gesturing and fakery of the worst kind. And you'd see me trying to skate over it because you're sharp. I have to believe what I'm saying so I can be authentic. And I'm not going to start lying to you now, because I don't believe those things yet. And maybe someday I will. I'll be at peace, soft, accepting my death with welcoming arms. But part of me hopes not, because that sounds like an entirely different person. Maybe a better person, but not me. When I go, I want to go as me. Not a character, not a representation, not a saint. Me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ellen, for this performance. Ellen isn't here with us tonight, but she's out there in the audience. It's a moving, powerful, poignant, funny, authentic, and so grateful for this performance. Before I welcome Director David Ford, who is here, I just want to remind our audience about our tip jar. The link can be found in the chat, and the funds are still greatly needed to support the Marsh. No donation is too large or too small, and we're very grateful to you for your support. I also want to remind the audience, you're encouraged to post comments and questions in the chat, and whether you're on Zoom or YouTube, the comments and questions will get to us. So please let us hear from you. Director and playwright David Ford has been collaborating on new and unusual theater for 3 decades and associated with the Marsh for most of that time. You've been a Marsh treasure since your Marsh first full-length run in 1990, was it, with Josh Kornbluth's Haiku Tunnel. The San Francisco Press is variously called David the solo performer maven, the monologue maestro, the dean of solo performance. And he's still going strong in 2022, developing new shows. Welcome, David.
Hi, good to be here.
You know, Ellen, when she was with us in November, she told me that she wrote this play as a legacy, as an opportunity to act, as a process to express her experience, and told me she realized something that's incredibly vital to human experience. She wanted to channel that through her art to the human experience. Tell us how you met and how the collaboration first began.
Ellen was in an acting class with Brian Copeland, who I've done a bunch of shows with. Brian was always impressed by Ellen's acting, her talent. And so when it came to hearing about her new circumstances, he recommended me to her.
And how long did you work on the piece? How was it developed? Did she have a full script when you met?
No, what she had was a sense of urgency, because it was not at all clear how much time she would have. And so she wanted to be able to try to do something to vitalize her experience. And with very little experience of writing, but the extraordinary thing was to find out that she's actually a very powerful writer. So some of the wordsmithing of what was presented tonight, you forget that this is something that was written in a great rush, because again, she didn't know how much time she had. So was trying to find some words to put to her own experience. I think a lot of writers often feel, worry about the worthiness of what they're creating. And on some level, Ellen didn't have the time for that. So she was just sort of gave in to the drive. She also had the sort of strange narrative good fortune to have acted the role that she was destined to live in life before she had to live that role. And I think that's one of the extraordinary things about this piece is, all of us are confronted in life with trying to think about the unthinkable. And it's very rare that a person has that experience of being professionally required to imagine the unthinkable and then to find herself in that exact situation a very short time afterwards and having to try to understand how far she could go in trying to understand what was going to be her own experience, and then how far she could not go. So I think that's one of the extraordinary things about the piece. It's about trying to imagine the end and how intangible that end is.
As you said, it was trying to imagine the unimaginable for, a situation like that. So many things in the play itself are just so beautifully performed, but the words too, and the way it comes around, and you really feel in the moment with her, from the moment she's in the training videos, and then later meeting the doctor who says, no matter what happens, we will always be your team. And she says that she just had a ripple of, an icy ripple went through her heart with those words, because he wasn't treating her like a person. Talk about that process, working with her. And
well, I feel like one of the gifts that this piece has to offer is the gift of acceptance that the way we react to moments of extreme grief are that we get to react in our own ways. That there's needs to be no judgment or no expectations. So, having played the part and thought, oh, tears was the important thing. And the director obviously wanted tears, and the script said tears, and she felt very pressured to show grief in that, through sadness, and that in her own circumstance, really it was rage that was the dominant note. To the point that she's going to her therapist and saying, I think there's something wrong. Why aren't I reaching acceptance? I'm just so angry. And, it's one of the great things about theater is that we get to imagine ourselves standing in the place of the characters, and in this case, Ellen's place, and think, yeah, I would be mad too. When the therapist says that, don't you think you have a right to be mad? You're like, right. Yeah, that is the absolutely natural and obvious response, So again, I feel like she gives a great deal of forgiveness to herself, and hence to other people who are confronted with grief on this scale.
yeah, I love that she said when she played Tara, she was sad and wet and limp, and such rage didn't even occur to her,
Yes.
But that for her, there's no tears, just fury and refusal, that she would have made a very different video. I wanted to say something about that too, because one of our guests a few weeks ago, Sam Simon, was talking about when a doctor comes and tells you this information that is devastating your life, that doctor's going to go on with his day and not remember that. But that moment of meeting is going to be forever etched in the patient's mind. And so the idea that it all starts with these training videos and the importance of being a person, and that Ellen especially brings out, and for the doctor to finally come around and really be presenting her with the flowers. And because even when he started out, he called her Miss Dunphy instead of even knowing her in the training video of saying her name, as he was corrected right in the video by the when they were
somehow Miss Dunphy I think goes with the bow tie, but but I think you're right that it's obviously because Ellen is somebody whose job it is to understand the emotional life. Then her critique of the doctor in the scenes where they're play acting it seems so obvious, and yet it's so interesting that by the end of it she's thinking, oh, I totally get why he can't do this for every patient. She goes from wondering where's the compassion for her as the patient to being able to then extend compassion to the doctor. And it feels like that's so much what the piece is doing, is just celebrating the times when compassion can be offered, and to what extent that is the point of living this life to the last, even in the last months of living it, that ability to offer compassion and receive compassion, those become the touchstones of the story. I have to wipe my face here. It's hard not to get teary about this.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. It's a very moving piece, and so much is in here. Her personal story and so many beautiful moments there, and what you just brought up, the scene that they were playing and talking about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief for comic effect. And that we do go through denial and isolation, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and it's not necessarily in that order, as you
right.
Point out,
and acceptance isn't necessarily the landing place.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So once again, it feels like, that's one of the things I love about the work I do, is that so much of what performers can offer by telling their own stories is forgiveness of themselves, and by extension, forgiveness of the audience members, to just accept our humanity, not have to fight with it, not have to struggle against it, not have to feel like there's something wrong with us, but to be able to, it's so interesting when, it's structured around performances of death. There's like a couple performances of death, and then there's the Shakespeare, which is a performance of life. But it's very interesting, delving into Baltimore Waltz, that again is a piece that's written about losing a brother. And it's so interesting that Paula Vogel wrote that play by casting what essentially the character that was herself, the sister, as the person who's dying. And that's, I think that was a powerful choice that she made, to show the equivalence of the grief of a person who's losing a person and the grief of a person who's losing their life. and yet even that play is showing that there's whoever's playing the roles are trying to embody that, and can probably never quite fully understand what they're embodying. And in some ways, Paula Vogel probably couldn't fully understand what her brother was going through. And then Ellen, so beautifully, that passage where she talks about trying to really imagine her own death, and how even that stays beyond her grasp in some fundamental way. I think that's such a powerful moment in the piece.
It is. It is. Yeah. We don't talk about these things generally. I think this is a real gift, this play, to the community and the world. I would love everyone to see it, because and there are some, I think Brianna will post in the chat a couple of, there's many different support groups, but I'm glad you brought up, it's not just the patient, but it's also the caregiver. And the importance of compassion. And Reimagine is one of the organizations that we were going to post. Their mission is to help all people face adversity, loss, and mortality, and channel the hard parts of life into meaningful action and growth, which is already what Ellen has done. But to envision a world where we can embrace life fully from this moment through the end, and collectively contribute to a more just and compassionate society. And this is precisely what we see here with Imaginary Endings.
Yeah, amen.
And the moments where, even to feel the infusion, the moment when she's talking about an infusion and just waiting for it, and the air bubbles and it coming up through, you just live through that moment. And although you can't totally live what it is for someone actually doing it, it was quite graphic and very moving.
Yeah. No, it's very powerfully rendered. It's just interesting to find out that she could take her skill as an actor, which really gave her the emotional access to her experience, and find the words to put to that. That's a really extraordinary. It was I felt very fortunate to be working with her on it.
And you must have really encouraged her to use those scenes, like the Paula Vogel play, and some of those that you may have been familiar with already, to try to illustrate some of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's the almost everything that is happening in her life is very dramatic. So trying to find some ways to distill that, to focus in, but it just felt like the important thing was that her ability to empathize and to extend her imagination into experience, into life, that is her skill as an actor. To be able to explore that felt like this is a special gift that she has to offer.
Well, she certainly does. And how long did you work together on the play?
I don't really remember. I think about 6 months, something like that. Again, it felt like there was an urgency of time. And it's strange for me as in some sense, her coach, to try to lay out a creative process, not knowing whether she would have the vitality to be able to complete it. So it, I was very happy to see her do such a tremendous performance of it. It's something I will treasure for the rest of my life.
Well, I'm so grateful for you being here. You develop shows all the time. I know you have workshops going on, and people
Yeah.
can look for, if you're interested in developing a show, go to themarsh.org and you can see information of how you can sign up to work with David Ford. Are there any other things that you would want to say about the play specifically? And
I guess I would also like to just sort of point out that because it is structured around several performances that Ellen did when she's creating videos to training videos and then doing the Baltimore Waltz. But the thing we haven't talked about is the Shakespeare performance. And it feels to me like that's a really powerful moment in the piece, because it's a moment of embracing life, and for her to be able to disappear into the lives of characters created by somebody who's now long dead. That little miracle of the arts, I think, should be recognized too, and the power of being able to disappear into that, at least for a moment, and find some comfort in a otherwise frightening and a very difficult experience she was going through. So yay the arts.
Yay the arts.
Yeah.
The arts heal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that, I'm so glad you pointed that out. It just a positive note on which to end this. And there's been wonderful comments in the chat. Someone asked whether the doctor had seen the play. Yes, he has. Brianna has posted about Reimagine, and also the Living and Dying project is another project that offers conscious and compassionate support in the spirit of mutual exploration of those facing life-threatening illnesses, and to caregivers as well. If you're confronted with a life-threatening illness, finding conscious and compassionate support for deep healing is essential, but for those who aren't facing life-threatening illness, investigating our mortality and the preciousness of life can allow us to lead fuller, richer lives with more courage and less fear. And this play is a good example of helping us all do that.
Yes.
So I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate talking about this play with you, and I want to say a very special thank you again to Ellen Dunphy for her performance of Imaginary Endings.
Yay.
A beautiful artistic work, inspiring action to help all of us deal with these issues. So please look for more about Ellen at her website, ellendunphy.com, and on the Marsh Stream YouTube platform at themarsh.org. So with a very special thank you. I do want to announce that next week we're going to have ANCAN founder Rick Davis will feature Barbara Diskant, who's been a care partner to two of her loved ones. And next month we'll be featuring Ara Fitzgerald in the Invisible Circus of the Present Tense, once again dealing with the healing of ourselves and our planet. Compelling stories by amazing people. So please join us. Thank you so much, David Ford. I'm grateful for your being here tonight. And with thanks to the Marsh Stream producers, Brianna Caver, General Manager David Harada, Artistic Director Stephanie Wiseman, and to our Zoom and YouTube audiences. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I describe my journey with
your mother, who takes care of you, who takes you to the doctor when you're sick? Your mother.
Good morning, New York. Buenos dias. It's me. What's up?
We went out for lunch at a sushi place where she tried sushi for the first time and she liked it.
I see that change can happen. I know things can shift and change for good.
I am dizzily dazzled with stars in my eyes.
Same level as I broke my neck. But he's not getting the same return of function I am.
And I don't want any of your smart aleck sex talk that I usually get when I get.
This is beyond the marsh because what you're doing is planting beautiful seeds for artists to grow.